Hey friends, welcome back to Wild and Outdoors. I'm Brad and
I'm CeLynn.
And we just spent the week at Moss Landing, which is just north of Monterey.
So, for example of things that move, this whole cabinet opened up and the microwave opened up. So all of our dishes came flying out and our microwave tray came out and smashed everywhere. And this is when it can be tricky, is it's behind the slide too. So you want to make sure you get everything under there before you open it up. So we stayed at the Moss Landing KOA Express. It was a very small RV park, 30 spots maybe? It was tiny. It was like 2 rows basically, and then we were in the center row. It was really nice. It was really quiet. They seemed really surprised that we were staying there for a week, so it seems like a lot of people come for just a night or 2 and then keep going on their travels. But it's right on a harbor, so if you leave the campground, you can walk out and you'll hear them all night long and all day long. You'll see sea lions everywhere. And we did see sea otters as well that were right outside the campground. And you're not far from, I don't remember the name of the state beach, but there's a state beach right there. So you walk out, you go down the road or over the bridge a little bit, you go left, and then you're at the state beach, which is super nice. They have a walking trail there. The beach is huge. We walked quite a ways down it and didn't reach the end. Lots of surfers there. I think it's prone to like riptides though, so not the best spot for swimming.
Very strong undertows and what they call sleeper or sneaker waves. So
yeah.
Not a place that I would bring the family to go swimming, but for 100 yards, from the campground entrance, it's a cool place just to go sit on the beach and hang out, watch some pretty sunsets.
Yeah, and being March, we don't really have interest in swimming right now, so it's more of just enjoying the scenic views and enjoying the wildlife, seeing all the birds and stuff. So campground amenities, they did have laundry. They only had 2 washers and 2 dryers. Both times I did laundry, I only ran into one other person who stopped in and asked about the price. It was pretty cheap. It was actually $2 for a washer, $1.50 for a dryer. So yeah, tiny laundry room, but not that many people staying there, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I think that was really it for the amenities.
Yeah, they in the back of the campground have a little patio area. We saw a cornhole, a couple tables to sit at.
We wanted to use it, but we were so busy we never got to.
Yeah, and then one cool thing was they do offer U-Bolt bike locks. So if you don't have your own lock, they'll provide you one that you can borrow free of charge. Just nice. An added security.
Full hookups at all the sites, I believe. Yeah. The spaces are a little small for having an RV our size. Our RV is 35 feet. There were a lot of people in sprinter vans and stuff. Yeah. They do have a wooden picnic table there. It's a cement landing. It was a little tight between your neighbors, but still really nice. It was nicely landscaped, and yeah. In our last video, we talked about when we stayed at San Simeon. We did drive up Highway 1 to, I believe it's Lucia? And that's the turnaround point right now. There is a closed section of the highway. So we decided while we were here, we were going to drive the other half of the highway down to that closed point. And that was a really beautiful ride. So we went across Bixby Bridge, which was really cool to see.
A couple areas you can actually walk down onto the beach. Otherwise, when you're on that northern section of that scenic highway, you're up on a cliff edge and you get spectacular views up and down the coastline.
Mm-hmm. We did go into downtown Monterey, which was known for being an old, basically, fisherman's wharf. They would bring in the fish there. There's the Monterey Canning Company, and lots of little shops and restaurants, and there's a beach there. And then after that, we went over just south of there is Carmel by the sea. It's a very social media praised area for being just unique. It's, tiny little shops and restaurants, and a lot of them, it's almost like a speakeasy vibe where it's you don't know the restaurant's back in this alleyway, so you have to kind of go explore. You feel like you're kind of intruding, but you're going down these alleyways and stuff, and you'll find this whole you know, a chocolate shop with a garden and a pool, and it's really neat. But we walked around there quite a bit. We were going to get some stuff at this bakery, but there was a huge line out the door, so...
Yeah, it must have been a good bakery.
Yeah, so just strolled around there a little bit. And once we finished up there, we drove a little further south to Point Lobos State Natural Reserve. The first hike we did at Point Lobos was the China Cove Trail and Bird Island. It was super short, but it was really beautiful. I mean, I've never seen water that color. There were signs about pregnant harbor seals, so just when you're in that area, just try to keep noise levels down just to respect the wildlife. Then after that, we went to do this Cypress Grove loop, which was really pretty. That one's kind of out on the point of Point Lobos. It's kind of the furthest out section. And we just did this after work, so we only had a few hours there, but you could easily spend a whole day there just hiking around, bird watching, looking for seals. We could hear sea lions.
Yeah, a lot to explore for a little gem of a park.
We decided on Tuesday that Brad would take the day off of work and we were going to go spend the whole day exploring Pinnacles National Park because that was the closest we were going to be to it. And honestly, it's so underrated. We loved it. We did the old Pinnacles Trail, which is, I think it's like 9.5 miles. And then once we got to the top, so we went through Balcony's Cave, which was the first cave.
Yeah, that was really neat. If you're gonna do that, definitely bring water shoes. We had to get, you know, mid-shin deep into water. It was pretty cold.
It was really cold water.
It was really cold. But yeah, the cave is really, really neat. This is one of 2 caves on this loop. It's definitely the one that's the least developed. It's not really quite set up for tourists. You're literally crawling through the caves. They don't have any walkways or anything like that set up as they do in the second cave.
So we found that experience a little more fun just because we like more off the beaten path stuff. Check on the National Park Service website to see if they're open or not. They're not always open throughout the year. March and October, I think, are the months that they're primarily open. But the other months, if there's heavy rain or especially there's bat breeding colonies that show up in these caves, and when the bats are in there and I don't know, during certain times of year, they'll shut it down just so humans aren't interacting with the wildlife too much.
So yeah, once we got through those 2 caves, the second cave's probably 3/4 of the way through the hike. And then we got out of that one and pretty much started our ascent. The whole beginning of the path is kind of just on a slope, gentle slope down. And then you come out of that second cave and you start to climb up.
The second one is Bear Gulch Cave.
Yes.
It's a more commercialized one.
Yeah, that one they have staircases built in. They've got walkways, so it's a lot more touristy friendly and I would say family friendly for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, once we came out of that, we started our ascent up. I don't remember what the trail was called.
So once we got to the top,
Peaks?
yeah, we did the High Peaks Trail. We decided to go across because we were seeing these California condors, which the park is known for. We didn't know this until we got there, but it's actually a release site. So when they're either bred in captivity or rescued for being injured or whatever, this is where they go to release them a lot of the time, which is really neat because at one point, I think there was only a handful of them left. They were very endangered, and I believe they're making a comeback, so.
There were so many.
There was a lot there.
In this one particular spot.
This one guy we came across was like, oh, like with a lens like that, you'll be able to get pictures of its eyeball or its feathers or whatever. So we got really excited, and that's why we were like, all right, we'll break off our loop and do this High Peaks Trail, and it was very worth it. Yeah,
literally 20, maybe 30 feet max from the trail. There was 2 huge condors just sitting there hanging out with, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people just standing in the trail getting photos, and they sat around for like 15 minutes. I don't know how long they were there before, but that was incredible.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, their wingspan, I think it gets up to like 9.5 or 10 feet wide, which is just incredible. In the caves, make sure to bring a headlamp and also bring like a rain jacket because there's water like dripping off all the rocks and stuff around you. So we did get pretty wet coming in and out of those caves. Also, maybe a pack towel to dry off your feet to put your hiking shoes back on if you changed out of them.
Right, and if you have a plastic bag or anything like that that you want to put your wet shoes into so you don't soak everything inside of your backpack, it's another good tip.
And then we descended on the tunnel trail, which was just really pretty. It's just this whole park, like there's so many different types of terrain and environments. It's really incredible, and honestly way more than I expected.
Yeah, when we first started the hike, just the landscape and the surrounding area, it was so surreal. It was just so gorgeous, it looked fake. It looked like a green screen almost.
Yeah.
I could never have imagined something that beautiful was literally just sitting right here. It's definitely underrated, and a lot of people do not go there.
I think it is the least visited national park in California. For parking and getting there early, we had read that the parking lots fill up quickly. It's not like your typical national park that has these huge parking lots or shuttles bringing you to places. So there's only a handful of parking lots. They do fill up very fast, and they're very small parking lots.
When we got there, we were the second car.
Yeah, we were determined to get there early to get that in that parking lot.
Yeah.
And we were the second car there. We got there at 8:30-ish.
Between 8 and 8:30.
Yeah. But we also went on a Tuesday. So I think on the
Right.
weekend you would want to show up that early.
Absolutely.
And yesterday afternoon, right near our campground, I think it was a mile, maybe a mile and a half, was the Elkhorn Slough. And we had heard about it and heard you might see some sea otters if you're paddling there. So we decided to use our paddle boards. We have blow-up paddle boards. And right on the dock, there was a sea otter there, just like cracking open mussels and eating them. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And then we went under the bridge right into the opening of the slough, and there were sea otters everywhere.
Yeah, we paddled for maybe 5 minutes from where we put in, and every direction you look, there's one popping up. I mean, I think we saw 3 or 4 moms with their babies, a lot of them that looked like old grandpas. We probably saw a dozen or more just all around us, and you just sit there and kind of flow with the current with them. And
we had one pop up like 10 feet from us and then go back down and splash, and it scared me.
Yeah, it was adorable. They do say try to stay about 5 boat lengths away just to give them their space, and let them feel comfortable. Don't scare them away. Don't get too close to them and trying to get every photo. We're lucky to be there and to enjoy that space with them, so give them their space for sure.
Yeah, but it was so much fun, and I'm really glad that we ended our trip here by doing that, because it was something we were like, if we have time, we'll do it, and then I'm just so happy we gave it a go.
Yeah.
And then there were also harbor seals that, it was kind of spooky. They'd come
like
up
Jaws.
and they were just snorting, and you just see this little head floating by you, and these harbor seals, they're pretty big, and our fear is we've seen them crawl up onto kayaks and stuff, and we've heard they're like puppies. They are often not aggressive seals. They're not like sea lions, but we were really terrified they were gonna jump up on the paddleboard. So every time we saw them, we were like, all right, we're gonna go over here.
Time to get out of here.
They do have kayak rentals that you can do. It is a little pricey, so we were really happy we had our paddle boards, because it was free entertainment for us.
Yeah, I think if you're interested in the pricing, I think it's about $70 to $85 for a tandem kayak for 4 hours, and then I think single kayaks were something like $35 to $45 for 4 hours. One day after work, we were hoping to go to Capitola to go surfing. Ended up having other things to do, so we went Saturday morning, and our goal was to try out surfing. Unfortunately, the swells weren't really cooperating, and
they're pretty sad.
Yeah, it was one wave every 5 minutes. It was only 55 degrees out. I get cold easy, so we decided, no, we'll just walk around the town a bit, which is gorgeous, by the way.
That's a cute little town.
Yeah, they have, what are they, apartments? They're all different.
It's called the Venetian Village.
Yeah, they're all fun, vibrant colors, so it looks really cool. Cool little place to stop in and check out.
So be sure to check in next week. We'll be staying at Point Reyes, so we'll do another weekly recap of that.
Thank you guys so much for following us on our journey. If you like this content, please like and subscribe below, and let us know in the comments if you have any questions on anything as we work our way up the coast of California, up into Oregon and Washington. Until next time, stay safe and get outside, get outdoors.